good afternoon, YouTube. Hi, wherever you are and whatever time it is. I hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Mandy and I'm known as Mandy Von Knits on Instagram, YouTube, and Ravelry, and I'm here to talk to you about a couple of garments that I've made in the last couple of years. I have a great appreciation and love of knitting and crocheting and machine knitting garments, and I love to make them, and I love to specialize them, and I love to change the patterns around and just find different ways to modify them to make them a little bit easier for me to wear. I am paralyzed. I use a wheelchair pretty much all of the time. I just got some KFO braces, but right now I'm still kind of a little bit too wobbly to use those out in public. But yes, so I will modify patterns every once in a while to make them a little bit easier for me to wear them. I love to knit and I love to crochet and I love all things fiber art. So if you do too, then hopefully you're in the right place and you'll stick around and see what this is all about. I hope that you like some of the garments that I show, and I hope that maybe I'll give you an idea in the future to do something different or outside of your comfort zone. The first cardigan that I'm going to talk to you about is the lightweight raglan pullover, and I'm wearing it. It is knit from linen quill, and I actually did this last year as part of Purl Soho's knit along involving this sweater. Now, Purl Soho is really big with hosting knit alongs, so if that sounds like something you're interested in, I would definitely check them out and their website. I believe right now they're holding knit alongs for some washcloths, so it always seems like they're hosting one thing or another involving one of their patterns and some of their yarn. But this is knit with linen quill, and it is alpaca and wool. Highland wool? Is that right? I think that's right. It is not merino. How's that? I will put the fiber content in the transitions beforehand, so that way we'll be all set no matter what I tell you on accident. So I had a great time knitting this sweater, and as you can see, this was actually a first for me at this time. There is no ribbing. Right on the sleeves, no ribbing. There's no ribbing on the bottom, so it actually rolls. And I'm still kind of on the fence about whether I like that, but I do like it up here at the neck. Now, like I said, this was made with alpaca. I can't remember how much of the fiber content alpaca is, but it's definitely enough to bother me up here. And I say that because a lot of people have used linen quill and a lot of people love linen quill, but I am kind of sensitive to alpaca specifically, so it will start to itch me after a while. But look at the purple. The purple is completely worth it. I love this. If you take a look at this up close, you can definitely see the linen in there. And you can see how heathered and beautiful the color is. So the fiber content's going to be linen, alpaca, and some type of wool. I don't know if it's specified or if it just says wool, but I'll definitely put it in the transition screen. Now, I know I said I was sensitive about the alpaca, but it's not overly bothersome, so I definitely still do wear this garment. It didn't take me very long to make. It is knit and fingering weight, so depending on how fast you knit, you could probably knock this out rather quickly. It's a wonderful garment to wear, and it's super casual and comfortable and something that you just want to relax and rest in. I was really happy when I found this pattern, and I had no modifications for it. The back has short rows, so the back of the neck sits higher than the rest. But other than that, it's just a plain raglan. I think that in this pattern, the yarn really, really, really speaks highly. So we've got this plain pattern, but the yarn actually kind of makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. I've always been a big fan of raglans and how they sit on my shoulder, but I've never had one without the ribbing, so this does sit down pretty low. It's almost as though it's kind of like a boat neck. But if that doesn't bother you, let me put it this way. When I knit this, you can easily change the sleeve cuffs, the hem, the neckline up here. It wouldn't take all that much. I believe that what you do is you basically knit a couple of rows and then knit this current stitch that you're on and then a couple rows down together to form this bump. Let me see if I can show it. I don't know. It's almost like a teeny tiny ridge there. So it looks really nice, but if that's not your thing and you really like the sleeves a little bit more fitted or the neckline, you could always just substitute it for a ribbing. Other than that, it's a great staple. It's you could do this, I mean, it's a plain raglan, so you could do this a million different ways. You could do stripes, you could do just plain, you could do, if you wanted to be adventurous, you could even turn this into a cardigan without that much trouble. But I appreciated the simple knitting and just the round and round of the stockinette and then the short rows. I believe we used German short rows for this pattern, or at least I did, so I'm pretty sure that's what the pattern calls for as well. It was a joy to knit, and linen quill is definitely a wonderful yarn. I just wish that I didn't have as many issues with alpaca as I do. I would knit this again. I'd probably use some sort of merino nylon just because of yarn difficulties that I have. I think that superwash merino would probably make it a little bit easier to wear and to wash. If I knit it again, I would also make the ribbing here, just because I don't think I need more than one with a large neck. Other than that, I really did enjoy knitting this pattern. It was fun to participate in the knit along for Purl Soho. It's always fun to see the knitting community, and as they're making their items and posting about their different yarn choices and design choices, it's great to see that just show up on your Instagram feed. So I know that if you check on Ravelry, this project probably has a million posts, but it's neat to see everybody's different take on just a plain raglan sweater. So I hope you like mine, and I love this purple. It's so pretty, I think. This is another machine knit Bright Axis. I adore this pattern, and I really had a lot of fun taking the instructions and transposing them to do in a way that I could replicate using my knitting machine. I decided to make this shirt when I started thinking about how I love Halloween, but I don't really have anything, you know, Halloween-y that I could wear. So I had this Beetlejuice sock skein. I believe it was from Night Owl Fibers, but The yarn will of course be in the transition screen. And I was watching Andy the Knitress on YouTube, and I was watching some older episodes, and she had a Beetlejuice sweater, and I just thought it was beautiful. So immediately I'm like, wow, that's a great idea. How could I do something like that? So I took her idea and was so inspired that I decided to do my own thing, and took my silver reed knitting machine and basically came up with this. If you've never heard of the book, it's Knit Happy with Self-Striping Yarn. It's by Stephanie Latvin, and it's probably my favorite knitting book that's out there. Every time I look through it, I just get inspired with a ton of different beautiful patterns, different ideas, different colors. It's just a treasure trove of awesome information, and I love all of the patterns. And I'm actually in the process of taking one of her I believe it's the sock arm sweater. It's a sweater that is knit bottom up that has self-striping, basically sock arms on it. And I'm taking that, and I found a knitting pattern for a pair of socks that I really, really like, and they're color work. So I'm going to take those colorwork socks and turn them into sweater sleeves. So you'll have to check back on that to see if I'm successful or not. I've got my fingers crossed, and the socks are from a video game that I really like. We'll go with that. Anyways, I was super happy to make this. I made this, I believe, last October in a weekend. So it's not a big endeavor, but I'm still learning the knitting machine, so I do have a lot of hiccups every once in a while. I would definitely recommend this pattern and the whole book, like all the patterns from the book, from the mitts to the hats to the shawls even. It's just a great book to have if you love self-striping yarn, or even if you just like working with stripes and changing out colors, or just looking at different garments to get ideas on how you can bring color in new and different ways. I will definitely knit this again, probably 3 or 4 or 5 times. I definitely like being able to do it on the knitting machine because it makes it a little bit easy. There's quite a bit of stockinette in the body, and it's just round and round, and you know, I don't mind knitting round and round, but if I can do it on the knitting machine and save my hand knitting for things like lace or just a little bit more mentally engaging for me, then I kind of like to do that. If I do round and round knitting, I generally try to do it on like a muscle burrow. That's a hat by Isolde Teague. It's beautiful, and it is my favorite hat pattern, but I'll probably tell you about that some other time. I hope you like taking a look at my version of the Bright Axis tee. It was definitely fun to do, and it goes to show you that you can take a hand knitting pattern and convert it to a machine knit pattern with just a little bit of playing around with it. Depending on what you're trying to do, it can come out really nice. I love this one. This is the Hitofude cardigan by Hiroku Fukatsu. At least I hope that's how you say it. I'm sorry, I apologize if it isn't. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I would love to be able to pronounce it the way that it's supposed to. But this cardigan is absolutely beautiful. And this is probably my favorite. Look at the color. Okay, first of all, the color, like bright pink. And if you look really, really close, it's sparkly too. This beautiful yarn was dyed from Arkansas Yarn Company. I can't remember the color name, but it is done in her sparkle base. And the best part about her base is that it's super sparkly and you cannot feel the sparkles at all. It's wonderful. I knit this last summer. I believe it's a year old now. I knit this when we went on vacation. We took our children to a water park, a hotel that has a water park built inside. And since I am in a wheelchair and my kids are 8 and 12, they want to run, and go, go. So my husband runs and go, goes with them around the water park. And I basically sit and knit and read some. So, I mean, it might sound like a great vacation to you, but I really wish I was going with them too. But anyways, this took me, let's see, this was really quick. You know, I love this pink. How you knit this is you're going to knit this from here, and you knit the sleeves first, and then you go through and you pick up the lace all around after you close off the seam here. Oh, wow, I cannot believe this. You know, I haven't worn this in such a long time, and I just love the way the pink looks now. But the lace is not hard. You will not have issues with the lace. I would recommend that if you were a beginner or kind of not as confident with lace knitting, just throw in a lifeline. Do what I do. So one of my I say secrets like, you know, it's really a secret. It's not a secret. Okay, one of the things that I do when I am lace knitting or colorwork knitting, any knitting where things have a potential to go wrong. How about that? I will take stitch markers and put them on every repeat. Say you have a chart that you're going through and it's 24 stitches. So that means that every 24 stitches I would put in a stitch marker. Now, I do this, and it would probably drive some people crazy because you keep having to slip stitch markers, but it doesn't drive me crazy because I know. Trust me when I say I know. All it takes is watching TV and getting caught up in something else to completely go off the rails with lace knitting for me. So if I have stitch markers every 24 rows and I'm reading a chart, I can see almost instantaneously when I mess up. That is perfect. That is especially perfect when you have an 8 and 12-year-old running around and they're asking you questions all the time. So you put down your knitting and you forget where you are, and then you grab it, you know, a day later and you're like, what was I doing? You have the stitch markers, and the stitch markers will tell you exactly what you're doing. Trust me when I say this. It will come in handy. Another thing that I do with lace knitting is I will put lifelines through my lace knitting. Say if I have a chart, it is 24 stitches by, let's say, 30 stitches high. So every time I go through 30 stitches and I have one full repeat of the chart height-wise, I will put a lifeline in. This has the bonus effect of me remembering where I put that lifeline in. If I don't do it on a chart repeat for the lengthwise, I will do it where I write down where I put that lifeline in, because I can read my knitting, but I don't want to rely on that skill alone. It's really, to me, it makes a lot more sense if I write down what I'm doing. Following those couple of lace tidbits that I had, I was able to knit this pretty quickly. I would say that I cast this on while my in-laws were visiting, and I was able to cast off, I'm pretty sure, the day after they left. They didn't visit for that long, so it was definitely a success with knitting and me being able to finish it while we were at the water park. But yeah, if you use lifelines and stitch markers, you can knit something even if you're distracted by a water park. So it's just and the pattern itself was very simple. It was very easy to follow, and I'm pretty sure that this pattern is like $2 or $3 on Ravelry, so it's definitely a steal. It was easy to modify because I made it longer than it should have, and it's one of those patterns where you can just keep knitting and doing what you were doing until you get the length that you want. The sleeves are a little bit more difficult to figure out, but since you're knitting them horizontally, it would take a little bit more brain work to get the sleeves if you wanted them longer. But I think that this length sleeve is so cute. Plus, I don't have to worry about keep pulling up the sleeves, and you know, it's nice to have like a 3/4 length sleeve for different things. I pair this with a tank top, as you can tell. That's pretty much what I pair all of my knitted garments with. I buy Amazon basic tank tops, you know, off of Amazon. They're inexpensive, and you can find them really easily for any size that you need. And wow, this yarn is so soft. I'm definitely going to have to get some more of her sparkle base. I love this color. I hope that you like taking a look at my Hito Fude cardigan with me. It was definitely a great knit, and it was one that I had admired for such a long time before I finally decided to take a jump and knit this one. Definitely looking at the all over lace, it made me hesitant to try to do it, but knowing what I do about this pattern and how simple it was, I could definitely see knitting my daughter one of these. But there is a chance that since this is hot pink, she might try to steal it from me as well. So we'll have to see. Maybe I can convince her to pick out a different pink color that I have. But this is sparkle, so she may not be too agreeable, although I'm sure I have more sparkle yarn in my yarn closet. I hope that this inspired you to take a chance with an all-over lace cardigan. And just see different patterns out there and what you could do with them. Well, that's it for today. I am thankful that you guys dropped by, and I'm thankful that you decided to spend this time with me to talk about my knitted garments. If you like this content, please feel free to subscribe. That way you'll be able to see whenever I come out with new episodes where I talk about yarn or knitting or crochet. Until next time, bye.